before her baptism. The cross and the image of the Blessed Mother were the other gifts given to her according to Antonio Pigafetta.
KBP marks 500 years of Christianity and this station.
RPN Radio Philippines Network. DXKD Dipolo Radio Ronda. Member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Presidential aspirant flags up to 40 million pesos in alleged hidden power charges that consumers pay every month, but a rival dismissed the revelation as mere politicking. And there's no stopping SB 19 from reaching new heights. The Pinoy pop group gets nominated in the MTV Europe Music Awards. Department says it is now looking into the alleged overpriced ambulances and devices procured by its regional offices. This comes as the agency is being probed over its handling of the pandemic budget. George Quiles has the details.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque says the probe into the supposed overpriced ambulances has already started. Duque says the DOH is awaiting copies of documents Senator Panfilo Lacson presented during the last Senate hearing, showing the alleged overpriced components of the procured ambulances. Lacson earlier disclosed the Health Department has procured 841 ambulances distributed to different parts of the country since 2019. He says each ambulance may be overpriced by 1 million pesos, which means the government may have lost around 841 million pesos from these procurements. On Wednesday, the senator exposed the supposed overpriced components of the ambulances. For example, in Region 4A, the DOH submitted prices for 2 mobile phones with SIM cards at 30,000 pesos, but local government units bought phones with similar specifications for only 7,998 pesos. The Health Department procured dashboard cameras for 15,000 pesos each, but the retail price for the item is only 4,500 pesos. And the automated external defibrillator or AED, the DOH bought cost 165,000 pesos each, but the retail price is 96,500 pesos. Lacson says he is not aware as to who the winning bidders were, but he'll wait for the results of the DOH's probe.
Alam nyo, Secretary Duque, hindi naman namin kayo pinagbibintangan dito. Kaya lang, these are public funds. Ako mismo, di ba, personally, I augmented the budget of the HPEP. Kasi nga para maging compliant na ito sa Universal Healthcare Law. And then I feel guilty when I see some overpricing in the procurement of equipment.
The investigation has actually commenced, but we are awaiting the documents as mentioned by Senator Lacson, so that this can help us put together the basis for a possible, if there's a complaint that can be filed against erring officers or employees of the department.
Duque explains the procurement of the ambulances was done by the regional offices of the DOH. He says he ordered the department's investigating team to compare the prices of the 30 components of ambulances with the prevailing retail prices or with the LGU procured prices. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The Health Department is confident restrictions may further ease in Metro Manila in the coming weeks. Health official tells CNN Philippines the National Capital Region may downgrade from alert level 3 to 2 if COVID-19 cases continue to decline. Undersecretary Rosario Vergere adds the number of infections in the metro is getting closer to the average figure of less than 500 a day before the surge in March. The Health Department notes it is monitoring 3 regions for a possible surge in cases. These include the Cagayan Valley, Zamboanga Peninsula, and the Cordillera Administrative Region.
If you look at our epidemic curve, we will see that these areas had their increase in the number of cases, the peak in the number of their cases later on compared to the National Capital Region and the other areas. If you look at regions 2, CAR, and 9, the peak in their cases was September 26. So we are still looking at this because that's why they are still having this increase in cases, full hospitals, because their peak was later on compared to the rest of the country.
The health department recorded over 4,000 new cases today. That is slightly up from yesterday's number, but it is the third straight day the country recorded less than 5,000 infections. All laboratories were able to submit data. Local governments ready for the second phase of the vaccination program for minors following concerns about the safety of adolescents taking the shot in hospitals. The health department guarantees the facilities are safe. Our Tristan Odalo has that story.
The government is expanding its vaccination programs for minors. From 8 participating hospitals, there are now 25 sites for the vaccination of 12 to 17 years old starting Friday. The health department defends its move to conduct the inoculation in hospital setting.
The government will never do that, that we will put our children in danger. We made sure na meron ho tayong special place dun sa ospital na hindi po makakahalubilo ang ating mga kabataan na babakunahan.
Concerns about overcrowding and limited space also pushed Marikina City to conduct the immunization of minors in a mega facility like the sports complex. This is where Marikina City will hold its COVID-19 vaccination program for minors starting Friday, October 22nd. The room is equipped with all the requirements to meet the demands of Pfizer vaccines during inoculation day. So far, only 10 kids will be allowed in this facility, which is just few meters away from 2 nearby hospitals.
Minors, laging times 2 yan ang bilang namin, minsan times 3 pa eh. Pagka dumating yan, hindi po pwedeng on their own pupunta lang dito. Kaya namin dinedicate lang para sa minors lang talaga yung dahil sa dami. So ina-expect namin isang bata, may isa o dalawang kasama. So yung overcrowding, iniiwasan namin yon.
No walk-ins will be entertained during the vaccination of minors. Those with comorbidities will be prioritized.
Nakikita ko naman na parang wala namang hesitation na magpabakuna sa mga pediatric group.
At least 3 ambulances with emergency medical teams will be on standby in case of adverse reactions.
May pediatrician kasi kami dyan na sila magmaman kung magkakaroon, if ever na magkaroon ng side effect. Kaya dito namin napili na gawin to since ang proximity namin sa hospital napakalapit.
Navota City also held a dry run for the vaccination of minors. The city will administer Pfizer and Moderna vaccines at the Navota City Hospital. Pre-registration is required. In Mandaluyong City, a shopping facility will be used as vaccination center for minors according to Mayor Menchi Abalos. Quezon City will also roll out its immunization drive for minors at Quezon City General Hospital and at St. Luke's Medical Center. The government expects to inoculate over 144,000 youngsters in the second phase of the program. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
The World Health Organization is keeping a close eye on 20 sublineages of the highly infectious Delta COVID-19 variant. Among these, the AY.4.2 first identified in the United Kingdom. Government data show the subtype accounted for 6% of the country's cases in the last week of September, and that the numbers are on an increasing trajectory. Some experts suggest the subtype could be slightly more transmissible than the original Delta variant, but this has yet to be confirmed.
They're looking at how it's circulating and how much of it is circulating. They're looking at transmissibility. It's one to watch because we have to continuously keep an eye on how this virus is changing. And it's because we need to understand if our countermeasures, if everything that we are doing, our surveillance activities to detect, our therapeutics to save people's lives, the vaccines to protect people from developing severe disease and dying, continue to work.
Health leaders urge the British government to implement tighter restrictions like mandatory face coverings in crowded and enclosed spaces. Experts say cases could surge to 100,000 per day from the current 40,000. But London says there are no plans for contingency measures yet. It adds that for now they will stay vigilant, closely look at data, and ramp up vaccinations. When we come back, how realistic is a 1.5 million daily vaccination target for the Philippines? We take a look at some of the plans for distributing doses with the Regional Health Director of the Cagayan Valley Region, Dr. Rio Magpantay. And officials at a recent budget hearing get an earful of allegations about hidden charges in electricity costs. Keep it here on CNN Philippines.
sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, no? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Quincentenary Faith Rewind.
Ferdinand Magellan died in the hands of Dato Lapu-Lapu in the Battle of Mactan. Spanish navigator Juan Sebastian Elcano took command of the voyage, which finally reached the Spice Islands. Today, the expedition is also known as Magellan-Elcano Expedition.
KBP marks 500 years of Christianity and this station.
O, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, no? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
philsys.gov.ph para makapag-register sa Philsys Online.
Sa pamamagitan ng ID natin, ang bawat Pilipino ay meron ng valid proof of identity.
At mas mapapadali na ang ating mga public and private transactions. Kaya ano pang hinihintay nyo?
Ayaan na sina nanay, tatay at ang buong pamilya. At mag-register na.
Ito ang Philsys, ID natin to. Friends, try nyo to. Vet-approved Nutri-Chunks in lamb flavor. With active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real lamb goodness. With essential nutrients to help keep them strong, healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
In everything you do, make sure you choose what's true.
We always follow our hearts, so true adventures come our paths.
Dreams and aspirations, giving spark to all our passions.
Stay true and you know what to do.
And choose the bonds that are true.
We choose what's true. We choose GSM Blue. Choose what's true. 'Cause you're the more GSM Blue. Choose what's true.
Choose what's true.
Dahil ito ang GSM Blue.
Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. The government recalibrates its COVID-19 vaccination strategy in hopes of a better Christmas and a safe election season next year. Now, to achieve this, it targets to administer 1.5 million shots every day, meaning local governments need to vaccinate 3,000 to 5,000 people a week. Is this possible in the provinces? We go above and beyond the headlines with the Regional Health Director of the Cagayan Valley Region, Dr. Rio Magpantay. Dr. Magpantay, good evening to you. In February, we spoke before the vaccination rollout began. But first, I wanted to do a little bit of numbers, to show the numbers lang po muna para maintindihan po ng viewers natin. Ang population po ninyo sa Cagayan Valley ay 3.6 million and your vaccine eligible population is 2.5 million. Dr. Magpantay, can you tell us ilan na po ang fully vaccinated at ilan na po ang may first dose na?
Yes, that your statistics are correct. For our first dose, we have vaccinated around 680,000 clients, and for the fully vaccinated, around 580,000. That's around 27% and 22% respectively.
27%, Doctor, of the 2.5 million?
Yes, of first dose, and then around 22% for the fully vaccinated.
Okay. Well, Doctor, when we spoke, like I said, in February, when I did that interview with you, that was February, and March nag-umpisang dumating yung mga bakuna. Of course, hindi agad-agad na na-download ka agad sa lahat ng mga rehiyon, sa lahat ng mga probinsya. mga munisipyo, mga bayan. Pero how long did it take for the vaccines to reach your area, DOH Cagayan Valley, and how long was it before you were able to download to the different municipalities?
We didn't have problems with the downloading, but the problem was the number of vaccines being downloaded to the region. So it's only this time kasi we prioritize the areas with a lot of COVID-19 cases like the NCR and its neighboring regions. So yung mga regions naman far from the central, the vaccines actually were lesser compared, much lesser compared to the regions I have mentioned. But now, since we are prioritizing... Maybe that is
yeah.
Go ahead po.
I'm sorry, Doctor. Go ahead. Sige po. Kayo na po muna. Pasensya na po. Yes. Ganyan talaga ang Zoom.
Yes, as I was saying, now that the we have been receiving a lot of vaccines, of course, from COVAX, and we've been purchasing more. We are now being allocated more vaccines. Kaya ngayon yung kumbaga sa ano ang battle time para makapag-job kami ng mas marami.
All right. And of course, that is what explains why the numbers are quite low. Like you said, 25% of the vaccine-eligible population. But now, Doctor, na ang daming dumating in... I'm sorry, 27 and 22%. Now na ang dami ng dumating na mga bakuna and dumarating na po ba sa region, sa Cagayan Valley? In other words, from Metro Manila, nakakarating na kaagad ba sa inyo?
Yes, that's true. Kasi formerly, all the vaccines are being downloaded to the regional office. And we distribute the different vaccines to the provinces and even municipalities. Now, it has a different scheme. More vaccines are being downloaded directly to the provinces and even local government units.
Okay, that's great. The national target now is 1.5 million doses a day, and that will mean that a certain number of that ang kailangan gawin ng Cagayan Valley. Kaya niyo po ba yon, Doctor?
Our daily dose for vaccination or for jobs is 30,000 a day. So in a week's time, we could vaccinate around, if per team I just 100, for example, so 300,000, so that's possible. But we increased the target of our teams because we have 350 teams of around 200 to 300. So we could deliver that, even more than 20,000 per team when need be.
Yeah. Okay. Again, Doctor, when I interviewed you in February, we talked a lot about the geography, which is very, very important para maintindihan ng tao kung paano nakakarating sa mga liblib na lugar, halimbawa, ang mga bakuna. And that's why we're going to bring up the map now of the Cagayan Valley region because Cagayan Valley is made up, number 1, of the island province of Batanes, number 2, of the mountainous provinces of Quirino and Nueva Vizcaya, and the valley provinces of Isabela and Cagayan. And when I say geographical challenges, I really mean, like we spoke about it in February, ang laki ng challenges nyo. And I remember you talked about how you said you would need to hire, for example, light planes to bring vaccines over the Sierra Madre mountain range, for example. That you had challenges when it comes to coastal areas of Cagayan province, challenges in terms of the island town of Itbayat in Batanes, for example, the farthest point of Quirino, for example, and so many other municipalities sa Cagayan Valley. Nung nakwento niyo po yon noong February, all this time, syempre, ang iniisip ko was, paano niyo nagawa yung pagpapadala ng mga bakuna sa mga liblib na lugar na iyon?
Yeah, that's very true. What you mentioned was really true. But we engaged the support of other agencies such as the OCD and the AFP. So sila ang aming tinatap before to bring the vaccines to the different islands, particularly Batanes. Fortunately, for the past how many months after February, wala namang masyadong typhoon dito. And walang masyadong malakas. Meron man hindi siya malakas. So mas madali namin naibibigay or we were able to download the different vaccines to the areas you have just mentioned, the difficult areas. So very important talaga yung collaboration and cooperation with other agencies such as AFP.
That's true. Parang whole of government approach to armed forces, Philippine National Police, OCD, like you said, and also DILG. And I remember that very clearly. You said in February, basta't walang weather challenges, mas madali, no? So it's good to hear that. Now, Doctor, the other issue, because kanina nga si Yusek Rosario Vergere, DOH, no, sinasabi nila, binabantayan nila, isa sa mga rehiyon na binabantayan ay Cagayan Valley dahil medyo tumataas daw ang bilang ng mga kaso. So ang tanong dito is, mahahabol po ba yon ng vaccination rate? Are you confident about that?
To be honest, bumababa yung kaso namin. We are now under moderate. We used to be under critical and then naging high. Now we're under moderate. If before, during the critical stage, you were able to vaccinate, even a little less than 30,000, the more that we could vaccinate more. That's how I see it. And now that we have a different scheme na pwede na i-download sa iba't ibang lokal na gobyerno coming from the central, mas mabilis silang matatanggap yun as mas mabilis silang maibabakuna. The only challenge we have now is the number of vaccination teams. We really have to add more to make sure na faster yung jabbing natin.
That's true. Dr. Rio Magpantay, the Regional Health Director of the Cagayan Valley Region. Doctor, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Please stay safe, sir.
Thank you so much. You too.
The PDP-Laban dispute takes center stage at a Senate hearing on the Energy Department's 2022 budget. Tensions flared after Senator Manny Pacquiao accused his rivals of pushing up electricity prices. Amor Santos has the details.
Alam niyo, let's call a spade dito sa hearing na to. This is all political, Senator Pacquiao. Alam naman natin to.
Hold on, Senator Pacquiao, Attorney Matibag. This is my committee. And you have no right of calling this hearing a political hearing. This is a budget hearing. The senators are entitled to ask policy questions. You're out of order. You're no longer recognized.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian kicked out the president of the National Transmission Corporation, or TRANSCO, during the budget hearing for its mother agency. Tensions flared as TRANSCO President Melvin Matibag accused Senator Manny Pacquiao of politicking, as the lawmaker questioned his wife's appointment in the Independent Electricity Market Operator of the Philippines, or IMOP. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi apologized for Matibag's behavior. They lead a faction in the ruling PDP-Laban party that's in a dispute with the group of Senators Manny Pacquiao and Coco Pimentel. During the hearing, Pacquiao said the continued operations of both IMOP and the Philippine Electricity Market Corporation, or PEMC, have been pushing up electricity costs. He claimed up to 40 million pesos in hidden charges are collected from consumers every month.
Kung mayroong formally ang DOH, staffing and DSWD ay mayroon naman PIMC and IMOP ang DOH. Isa po ang modus ng mga ito.
Cusi explained everything was done in compliance with the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001, or EPIRA. Only that PEMC has been assisting IMOP during this period of transition.
Tumaas po ba ang cost na charge ng IMOP and PEMC sa mga tao? From 2016, kita po ninyo ang gastos po hindi umaabot ng 700. Kahit na po nung na-form na yung IMOP in 2018, yan po talaga pinangalagaan po natin ang interest ng consumers po.
Lawmakers, however, pointed out that 3 years is too long a period for transition. The Energy Regulatory Commission cited a 2012 opinion of the Justice Department saying that there should only be one independent market operator. According to ERC Chairperson Agnes de Venadera, the Commission previously ordered PEMC to refund millions of pesos in over-collection, an issue that has been elevated to the Court of Appeals. Amor Santos, CNN Philippines.
In a statement, Matibag apologized for his temper, saying he considered the hearing unfair. Matibag said Pacquiao presented private firms not associated with TRANSCO and that the center used the hearing to retaliate after he was ousted from PDP-Laban by the faction of Cusi. A lawmaker renews calls to reform the party list system. He says the 2022 race has become a star-studded affair for groups which are supposed to represent the poor and the voiceless. Melissa Lopez has more.
The party list race is equally action-packed in 2022, with 270 groups wanting at least one seat in the 19th Congress. They vow to give a voice to the poor and underrepresented. And some think celebrities and businessmen can do the job. There's superstar Nora Honor with her newly formed party list for artists, a former senator and hotelier who wants to stand for midwives, and the founder of a multi-level marketing firm who aims to empower the poor.
Ang grupo po namin nakatutok po sa mga mahihirap, lalong-lalo na po dun sa mga mahihirap sa mga urban areas, with more attention po sa mga elderly at mga unprivileged youth.
Carla Estrada, mother of actor Daniel Padilla, thinks she can represent Eastern Visayas residents as a nominee of Tingog party list. There's also dancer turned government official Mocha Uson with volleyball player and NTF LCAC ambassador Michelle Gumabaw hoping to represent single moms.
Hindi po ako buntis. Ang Mocha Mothers for Change party list ang magiging takbuhan ng mga ina na iniwan at inabuso.
Why is this allowed? A 2013 Supreme Court ruling paved the way for any natural-born Filipino of the right age and able to read and write to represent a national or regional organization or specific interest groups. The same decision also opened the party list system to any sector, not just the marginalized, which the Constitution defines as the urban poor, laborers, elderly, women, and youth, among others. A lawmaker wants to correct this through a bill.
Hindi pwede mga milyonaryo ang maging kandidato representing the labor sector, representing drivers, representing indigenous cultural communities na hindi naman membro ng mga sektor na yan.
Some party lists say they want to push for laws benefiting health workers, medical marijuana users, PUV drivers, call agents, and even the government's anti-communist unit.
It's about time we overhaul the party list system. So I think reform is very, very important so that we can make sure that yung marginalized are really marginalized so that they can have a real voice.
The Commission on Elections will have to go through each party list group and their nominees. The final list will be out in December. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
Straight ahead, more Filipinos make the country proud as they prove Southeast Asian music scene. Details after the break.
Oh, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, no? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Quincentenary Faith Rewind.
The image of Santo Niño may have come from Michelin Flanders, now part of Belgium. There are surviving images that resemble the one in Cebu from 16th century Flanders. King Charles I of Spain grew in Flanders and must have obtained and given images of the Santo Niño for the expedition.
KBP marks 500 years of Christianity and this station.
Gumagaan ang inuman pag sandiglay. Hoy, musta?
Ako, stressed sa work kaya ini-imagine kong nasa beach ako. Ako, busy sa paglaba at pagluto kaya ini-imagine ko nag-iit-olokin tayo.
Ako, ini-imagine ko yung bar dati. Laging masaya. Kasi miss ko na kayo. Buti na lang, may sandiglay dito sa tindahan. Pagtapos ng mabigat na araw, mag-inuman with friends and sandiglay. 100 calories lang. Magaan sa tiyan. Ulitin natin to. Ang alin? Mag-imagine? Hindi, mag-inuman.
Love is all about time. Di minamadali ang pagpapasarap. Like the love in every Pure Foods ready to eat. Slow cooked and ready in 8 minutes. Para may time ka sa mga mahal mo. Because love takes time.
Now more than ever, the internet has become critical, whether it's to learn, to work, to get healthcare.
As technology keeps on advancing, the customers keep on changing their needs.
We have to be very reliable as far as our customer engagement is concerned. We make sure that our IT infrastructure is very stable in order to serve our customers better.
We'll continue to drive digital adoption in the Philippines. We feel quite fortunate that we're able to help and make a difference.
Welcome back. Pope Francis has appointed Luis Cardinal Tagle to lead Venerable Pauline Marie Haricot's beatification in Lyon, France next year. This is the first time a Filipino will be presiding over a beatification ceremony. The process is meant to give Haricot, declared venerable over 50 years ago, the title of blessed. With this, the propagation of the faith foundress will be a step closer to becoming a saint. In entertainment, the Pinoy pop group SB19 is getting even more international recognition. The young artists are nominated for Best Southeast Asia Act in this year's MTV Europe Music Awards. They recently went up against global stars like Ariana Grande and BTS for the Billboard Music Awards Top Social Artist. While the four-member act lost to BTS, they still have a chance to grab the MTV prize. Voting is open until November 10. We have 65 days before Christmas, and that is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Ang RPN Dex Radio Runda 1053 kHz.
Oh, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, no? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Honorable Angel Halusos Carion, Batanon, Buutan o Malagaron, City Councilor of the Pitan City, Chairman, Committee on Tourism, Committee on Labor, Committee on Child Welfare and Development. Honorable Angel Halusos Carion, Batanon, Buutan o Malagaron, City Councilor of the Pitan City.
Paturagas! Inyo sa mga labas ng mga balita. Paturagas! Paturagas! Mga balitang gikan sa lokal, regional ug nasyonal nga mga tinubdan. Paturagas! Biskot sa bisan unsang hinisgutanan nga may kalabigitan sa katawhan. Paturagas! Mabati din hilamang sa RPN Dex Kini Dipulo 1053 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo. Ang tulamanong Paturagas
inyong mabati matag alas 8 ngadto na sa alas 9 sa buntag,
Lunes hangtod Biyernes. God's government begin its rules. Ang panggobyerno sa Dios misugod na sa pagmando. Ang programa sa relihiyon ang pinili nga nasod, giluwas ug gipahiuli.
inyong mabati matag adlaw Sabado ug Domingo alas 8 ngadto sa alas 9 sa kagabion.
Ang pinili nga nasod, giluwas ug gipahiuli. Dinhi lamang sa RPN Radio Ronda Dipolog City.
Oh, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, no? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Let's be the solution plus sa COVID-19. B. Bawal walang mask at face shield. I. Isanitize ang kamay at iwasan ang kulob na lugar. D. Dumistansya ng 1 metro at limitahan ang pisikal na interaksyon sa iba. A. Alamin ang tamang impormasyon. Plus, suportahan ang FDA-approved na bakuna. BIDA Plus. Bida Solusyon Plus sa COVID-19.
Isang paalala mula sa Department of Health, Zamboanga Peninsula.
Kini ang RPN Dex Kini Radio Runda 1053 kHz.
The filing of certificates of candidacy is